Just an absolutely beast of an aircraft, absolute beast of an aircraft. To actually get the engine started, you had to spin them up. So I had to use twin V8 diesel engines to get the turbojets on these things started up. And you just use those to run compressors and push air through the engine to spool it up, which is just insane. If we come over here, we have a diagram, I guess you could call it a giant diorama of an aircraft, sort of a testing facility. So you'd train your incoming stewardesses on it. We also have this wonderful small little experimental aircraft. It's got folding wings for road transportation. This has been here every time I've ever come here. It's just an interesting little design for if you want to take your plane out flying and stick it in your garage rather than paying for hangar space. We come around here, you can see.
Goober
Yeah.
ask, can you ask Rokker how does the engine compare to the J52 engine? I suppose he was meaning the SR71 engine.
How does which engine compare to the?
Yeah, he didn't specify it, but he said, can you ask Rokker how does the engine compare to the J52? And I believe he was asking about the SR71 compared to what? To that one, the J52.
Well, the J52 is compared to the J58. Oh gosh, I wouldn't even say you can compare it. The J58 had, I don't know what, a few thousand pounds of thrust in the 8 to 10,000 range. The SR71's J58 is in the tens of thousands of
he
pounds of
meant the size. Well, that's
size.
in size. Yeah.
There's a big difference. The J52 is let's see, if we were looking at this from the front, I would say the J52 is about this wide, so about half the width. And then I would say the J52 goes from about here to here, maybe. So it's volumetrically, it's probably about an eighth of the size. The J58 here is probably the second largest turbojet engine I've ever seen. The largest one is the XB70's YJ93 engine. So yeah, the J58 is huge. We come back here, you can get a good view of the SR71 from all sides. Absolutely gorgeous aircraft. This one has a little bit of a problem with the hump ruining the aesthetics of it, in my opinion, but is what it is. This is still a wonderful SR71 display because you can get a really good look at it from all angles. And it's an absolute speed demon. I'm going to show off one or two more things, and then I'm going to head out. We have some SR71 uniforms over here. So the SR71 uniform actually was pretty much borderline spacesuit because they were flying at 70,000 feet, which is close enough to a vacuum that if you ejected into it, you'd be dead. So they gave you these spacesuits to help you sort of survive. If we come over here, as I promised Abby, there's the field canon, Alex, 7.7 centimeter that I was going to show you earlier, but I understand it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
over
No
here we
worry.
have a bit about Bessie Coleman. She actually had to go over to France to learn to fly because the U.S. was a less enlightened place at the time. So she went over there, learned to fly, and became a famed aviator here in the African American and the woman community in the U.S. She unfortunately crashed uh, years years into her flying career. She became famous, but unfortunately, when she died, um, as much of a tragedy as it was, she became an inspiration to a lot of women. And Bessie Coleman is renowned uh, in the aviation field today. She actually has a number of roads named after her in cities around the country. I believe the road outside of Chicago O'Hare, which is one of the largest airports in the world, actually is named after Bessie Coleman because she was from Chicago.
Mm.
We also have this little bit about Amelia Earhart. This was this is a reproduction of the simulator Amelia Earhart used to learn to fly. And you can see basically it was just telling you how the plane would control in flight. You'd have air blowing along here, and you could basically learn the basic controls. Amelia Earhart obviously went on to become her own famous aviator, and then was lost uh, during the lead up to uh, the war, the World War II in the U.S. Um,
Mm.
oh, uh, they'd have a few other female exhibits. Also, like I said, they did have uh, one about the women's right to vote in the U.S., and they also had one about the WASP, which is the Women's Air Service Pilots uh, organization. Um, this is actually a wedding dress made from a World War II parachute. Um, the father who used this parachute in World War II sent the dress back to his daughter, or sent the parachute to his daughter, and she made a wedding dress of it when she got married. Uh, so that is this building. I'm going to go upstairs real quick and show off the above view because it is a great view. And then I'm going to head over to the third building. So we come out through here. We go upstairs. They do have a cafeteria up here. I don't know if it's open right now, but I've already eaten enough today, so I'll hold off on that. Any questions while I'm walking upstairs?
Let's see. Well, Abby, thanks for showing that part to her. Not everyone's favorite part, but it means a lot to me.
Yeah. So here is Abigail, the last bit I said I'd show you. Here's Suzanne Parrish's pink P-40. This was what she was most famous for flying during her air shows. And she would fly this bad boy around everywhere. She got a flying tiger symbol on the side here, as well as the Air Force roundels on the sides. They also have a bit about her life. They have her uniform. She would always wear a cowboy hat and this pink flight suit. She won a number of awards for her flying. She always wore a pink crash helmet. But she'd fly around this this area quite often, and turned it into a museum piece. In 1976, she actually had to do a wheels-up landing due to an issue with the plane. So here's one of the propellers from that wheels-up landing, which she signed. So this is actually a very, I wouldn't say female-oriented museum, but it does have a very important connection to female aviators, in my opinion, Abigail.
It does.
So before I head out, here's the above view. That is my favorite view of an F-14 I've ever had. Out of all the F-14s I've seen, this is literally just the best. I took like 10 pictures from this spot last time I was here because it just looks so great. So you can see this is the entire first building that we just went through. You see everything below. If we go over here, there's a model of the Montpellier brothers' first hot air balloon, man's first flight. And we also have a grasshopper over there, which was a observation plane during World War II.
Somebody asked if you took some good photos of that skin on the P-40.
I haven't taken many good photos of it. I might get some before I head out. But I do know that it actually is a skin on the War Thunder Live. On War Thunder Live, if you're ever interested in actually putting that on a plane, you can go and get it on your own plane. There are a number of photos of it online. It is it's a very famous P-40. Outside of P-40s that have actually flown in combat, it's probably one of the most famous. So I'm going to go outside. When I do that, I'm going to disconnect for a quick second because I'm going to lose Wi-Fi coverage. Oh, and you can actually see underneath, while the top is pink, it is blue on the bottom, which does follow somewhat an actual camouflage scheme for reconnaissance P-40s. You would use these for dawn and dusk reconnaissance. But yeah, so I'm going to disconnect for a quick second. If Tech's ready to drag me back in.
I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah, great so far. Really good so far. It's been wonderful. Are you there, Rokker?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Give me a second to put my gloves on before I turn on the screen again. There's a few things outside. It is a bit cold out, so I'm probably going to rush through those a bit. But I'll show off what I can. During the test stream earlier with Tech, I walked through what felt like a mile of snow because they haven't cleared off their walking path. There we go. How's that looking?
Looking good?
All right. So this over here is a Model 25 Learjet, built by the Learjet company, now owned by Bombardier of Canada. This is one of the first private jets ever designed and popularized. Bill Lear, who founded Learjet, then went on to become a UFO conspiracy theorist. which I always find funny. A really noted one, actually. He's like, "Yeah, I had government contracts. You should believe me on the UFOs." Over here we have a P-80, or sorry, this is a T-33. You can tell from the integrated wingtip fuel tanks, and the dual cockpit. I always love that paint scheme for the P-80 with the multicolored, the blue, yellow, and red. And I'm not going to walk over to it because it would involve walking on an active road. But out there they have a Thunderbird's F-84F out there, which I mean, we all know what the F-84F is, considering it was added recently.
On the sidewalk, you can see the SR-71 thingies.
Yep, the sidewalk has SR-71. I don't know what you'd call it.
Like an arrow kind of thing.
Outlines, yeah. Pointing you to where you're supposed to go. I said I would get in my car and drive over to save myself the trouble, but I'm in the mood for a walk, so I'm going to go through the snow again for you people. You're welcome.
We don't deserve you, Rokker. It's as simple
Thank
as
you,
that.
Rokker.
I know.
Very cool.
So if we come over here, there's a very odd plane. I couldn't remember the name of it when I was showing it off to tech, but its nickname is the French Beaver. It's called the Max. The Max Broussard, I believe. Broussard. Max Host Broussard. I'm probably mangling that, but if you're French, I'm not sorry. You invented a horrible language. I'm just correcting it. But it's known as the French Beaver due to its resemblance to the de Havilland beaver of Canada. It's all the way down here, but on a summer day, this is a really nice walk to take. It is not a summer day, so it's not a nice walk, but there's cool stuff to see along the way. But you can see it's painted up in French roundels, French paint. It was used as a liaison aircraft, I believe. What's really weird about it is it's a relatively small plane with this H-tail configuration that you don't really see on a lot of these on a lot of aircraft. It's a very unconventional design, especially for such a what looks like such a standard aircraft from the front. But yeah, this is a liaison aircraft, and it was used for light transport, utility transport. I believe one or two may be used for skydiving enthusiasts. You can see it's got that really interesting design. Not a ton of these were built. It's just an interesting aircraft. And then the annoying thing about it, though, is their website doesn't talk about it at all. And it's such an obscure aircraft that no one else talks about it at all. So it's a nightmare to find the actual name of it. Oh, they actually... What? Heck. Look at this. They cleared it off in the time since I walked in the software stuff.
They must have heard you.
Oh, no, they didn't. They only cleared some of it off. Oh, no. Damn it.
You'll be okay, Rokker. Who needs feet nowadays?
Well, I'm going to take a detour. I'm not going to go through there again. I'm going to walk around this way real quick.
It is a lot of snow, I agree.
Oh, the wind's picking up. So if we come over here, I hope the wind's not too bad, sound-wise.
No, not really. No, it hasn't caught it up yet.
All right, here we go. Whoop! Snow. How often do you get snow in Chile, Alex?
On my city, never. But further in others, you can get a lot of it. Yeah. Like also in the capital, you get a fair amount. Well, it's also in the winter, like real winter.
We've
Only a
had
couple of months.
snow for the past 2 days, so
Nice.
we're fully covered.
So the first thing I want to show off here, on the way back to the, they call it the East Campus. It's actually their restoration hangar mostly. Is over here we have a 5-inch naval gun, naval deck gun. Don't know what ship it's off of, but on less snow-filled days, you can sit on it and pretend you're taking out submarines on the high seas or fighting a Japanese merchant vessel that you've chased down. So here's the vertical axis wheel and the horizontal axis wheel, or it might have that backwards, I don't know. But you would sight it in through here, have someone load in the round here, and boom, you're good to go. So this is I don't know why they don't have more information on it. I'm 2 for 2 with weird naval turrets with no information this trip.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to tell them the tidbit you found out about that other one?
Oh yeah, so the other one we saw yesterday, the weird dual 3-inch turret, it sold for $10,000. So what that means is if each of you just made a donation of $100 to the Tech Hub Museum Foundation, we could buy a naval turret. So
no wonder there's some places where you can find a naval random random
10
turret
grand
on it.
is not a high price for a naval turret. I'm gonna be
I feel
honest.
like we could haggle lower as well, definitely.
I mean, the guy's been trying to find a way to get rid of it for a while, from what I heard, because he bought it to donate to a American Legion post, and they're like, we don't want it. So
Shit.
at least I heard they had a disagreement or something. So over here we have an S3 Viking. This is an anti-submarine aircraft. That's what the S stands for. Could carry torpedoes. I think it could carry bombs as well. Interesting note, it actually was the first plane to use the A-10's engines. And it's actually part of the reason the A-10 won its competition, because the engines were well tested due to being on the S3. They actually just retired the last of these last year. It was flying with NASA.
Hello there.
This one wasn't flying with NASA, but they started retiring these in around 2006, around the same time they were retiring the F-14 as part of a naval aircraft consolidation effort, I guess you could call it. But I do like the look of the S3. It's a very weird round aircraft, which I don't know. It always looks kind of cool to me. I don't like the pointy stuff as much. Round aircraft just look, I don't know. It's an interesting design to me. The big old bubble canopy there, and you
I know
drop
when
sound
you
over
when you usually when you usually hear about, like, at least me, when I usually hear about these like anti-submarine planes or whatever, I
Yeah.
usually think about like this kind of planes. But then they showed me like those
Yeah,
Japanese big planes or Canadian that use like very civilian like planes for anti-submarine
yeah.
duty.
So it really kind of depends. Um, this is your carrier-based anti-submarine aircraft, but
Mm.
if you're somewhere near the shore, you're going to be using those civilian ones because they have longer ranges and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
put more
definitely.
equipment on them. But that's more for home defense. If you're using a carrier and you want carrier defense, you pull out the S3s over there, or the P2 V Neptunes, or so on and so forth.
Makes sense.
Sorry if I'm holding the camera at a weird angle. I'm trudging my way through mountains of snow, making a sacrifice for you, the people.
Man of the people, can you say?
So obviously we have a MiG-21 here, Polish. Got the square Polish roundel on the back because the Poles don't do anything normal, I guess. Oh, everyone uses round roundels, square. Oh. So that's a MiG-21. I believe that is an F. I think technically it's one of the LIMs, so a Polish-built licensed variant. But it's got the spine on the back, so you know it's one of the upgraded versions.
Yeah, and there must
There's
be about
there's no
50 variants of the MiG-21, so I don't blame you.
but it's got fake atoll missiles on the bottom, and then on the other side you have its competition, the F4. This is an F4E, which is really cool. I always love seeing F4Es. They're less common to see in museums for some reason.
Yeah,
The Air Force Museum doesn't even have an F4E on display. We have one in storage, but
it's good to
none
see
on display.
because for you guys in the chat that were there yesterday, we saw the, I think it was C. Yeah, it was a Charlie.
We saw a D and a C.
A C and a D. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah, we saw a D in the morning and a C in the afternoon.
yeah, you can see the different nose, the cannon, all of that.
Yeah, you can see the nose. The cannon mount would be under here. Not a ton of different. I mean, a bunch of internal differences, but other than that, that's the only external stuff you can really see. The F4 Phantom is a great aircraft. I always love it. Mach 2 fighters are my bread and butter. Then if we come over here, this is the Air Zoo East Campus. You can see my steps from earlier today in the snow here, because I'm the only one crazy enough to walk out here. Just for everyone's information, it is currently -8 degrees Celsius outside.
Jesus.
So I'm a little chilly. Actually, hold on. That's an outdated. It's -9 degrees. It's dropped a degree. Sorry. So I'm the only one crazy enough to walk back and forth between these buildings, apparently. So this is their restoration facility, as well as storage for anything they can't really display in the main museum. If you ever visit, it's an absolute must to visit both of these. Both campuses. You can drive between them. You don't have to walk like I did. But these are really cool. So if we come over here, we have a B-57B. So that's the one with the rotating bomb bay and the inline. It's the first of the inline canopy rather than the bubble canopy. This one's got wingtip fuel tanks on, and you could also put hard points underneath the wings if you really wanted. You come over here, they always have something interesting outside. First time I came here, it was the S3 that's over there now, was outside. Nowadays, they have their P80. They had to move it out to make room inside, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. But they have a P80 out here, and then they have an OV-1 Mohawk, the ugliest plane in the world. At least to me.
I remember Tech like this plane a lot.
Yeah, Tech loves it for some reason. I can't figure it out.